Okay, so hello everyone. We will begin with our session. So as you know that every Saturday I have started these live streamings. So these live streamings are conducted every Saturday 10 a.m. Fine. So if you want to stay connected with me on Telegram, because if you join this Telegram group, whatever notes I'm going to share with you, whatever things I'm going to write over here in this class, live class, so that you will get here. Okay, all the notes, all the PPTs or PDFs required um to study material, that everything I'm going to share it on this Telegram group. Fine. So today it's third session of this live streamings. So if you want to see the previous session, so this is the playlist, so you can just open and go and check the previous session. So two sessions have been already completed.
This is Joe.
So
Say hi,
you
Joe.
can just see this here. Okay, so 1 2 and now currently it is live. Okay, so previous sessions also you can see with the help of this link. So we have started learning this software testing, and we have learned what is a software testing. So software testing is nothing but evaluation or exercising the software application in order to find bugs. So we as a tester, we are going to evaluate a certain software, we are going to check it, we are going to test it, and we will see whether there are any bugs or not, and we will report it. Fine. So on the same context, we have started learning different concepts. Like in the previous sessions, we have previous or the last session, we have seen few SDLC models. Means in a software industry, what happens is that you have been your project, or let's say a product software, is being developed and tested and delivered to the client. So how do we develop or test the software? There are different procedures, there are different modules. More or less, some many companies, they use certain modules. So modules are like waterfall model. Then we have seen this prototype model and incremental develop development model. Then we have seen mm, spiral model. Then we have seen agile model. Okay, so everything I have explained it in the last session. If you have not watched this session, so you can just go to this playlist and watch the last session. Okay, again I'm reminding you, you can just connect to me on Telegram using this particular link. Fine. So here today what we are going to do is we are going to study these things like V model, levels of testing, software testing lifecycle, and CMMI model. Okay, so V model is quite more popular and it looks just like this. Okay, so this model has a shape like a V. You see here, V shape, and it is said that its left hand side is quite like a waterfall model. Fine. And this section is also known as a verification section. So I'll explain you this. So look at this. In this module, there are different steps. You can see here: business requirement, system requirement, high level design, low level design, and coding. Okay, So whenever certain requirements for the software it comes, those are actually gathered in this phase, business requirements. And the moment we start documenting the requirements side by side, we prepare a plan for acceptance testing. Means before going to the user, means this application or a software, before it goes to the user's hands, there will be application acceptance testing. So that plan is prepared here itself while gathering the business requirement. Then we have system requirements, right? So in order to develop the overall software, what would be the system requirements? So software requirement, hardware requirement, all of them. So that at the end, when the software will be developed as a whole system, at that particular time we will have a plan to do the system testing, means considering the system as a whole. Next will be high level design. Here let's say the database design will be done. uh, no, actually here it will be the modules will be designed. Okay, the module, separate modules will be designed, and each module will have certain different functionalities. So your requirement or the system requirements will be, you know, uh, the requirements will be um, put it into different small pieces, small models, and that will be your high level design, right? So when we will have the integration of as and when we will have integration of this model, when we will develop the software, so that time we will have integration testing plan. Okay, so here we will have different modules, and let's say we might not have the complete system implemented, but still few modules can be interconnected and we can test it as well. So that kind of plan will be done here. Okay, so we will do an integration testing plan. Then in low level design, so the backend databases, backend tables, they are actually designed. Okay, and side by side a unit testing plan is also prepared. Then coding starts, and coding is completed. As and when the coding is completed, then unit testing will be done based on the unit test plan. So while doing the low level design, a little bit unit test plan is also prepared, and generally this unit test has been done by the developer. So after some small units are being developed and they are integrated, we will do integration testing, right? And once the complete system is developed and designed, we will go with the systems testing. So here we test the system as a whole, the complete system as a whole. Fine. And finally, before the product goes to the customer's hand, end user's hand, we will do this user acceptance testing. Okay, so this is basically a V model. Here in this section we actually do the testing, we do the validation. Here there are documents, we prepare the documents and the document verification is being carried out. So this is known as V model. So there are some advantages of V model and disadvantages also. So we'll just read out some advantages. So it is good for the small projects, right? So for small projects where requirements are very easily understood, so this is good for, this model is good for them, and it is very easy and simple to use. Fine. And just like a waterfall model, the planning, test designing, it happens well before the coding, due to which we save a lot of time. Fine. So, but we have the corresponding test plans also here side by side. So as and when the things will be completed, we will be able to test that. So compared to waterfall model, this is always better. Then using V model, we can find the defects at early stage here itself. So when you will gather the requirement and when you will start preparing the acceptance test plan, so there itself you can find some issues that, you know, after the development these kinds of problems it would appear. So in the initial level itself, we will correct them in the documentation. Even in the system design, high level, low level, when we will prepare it, start preparing the test plan for corresponding level, so at that time itself we will recognize certain things that may create problem in future. Okay, so this is a benefit, right? So it will avoid the downward multiplication of the defect. Fine. So these are the different advantages of V model. Now disadvantages of V model. So this is very rigid and less flexible. Okay, even in this model the changes are not welcome. When you will start coding, then nothing can be done. Okay, so you have to make your changes in the initial test planning phase itself. Okay, so changes are not welcome after the coding starts. Then software is developed during the implementation phase only. That is what I said. And no early prototype of the software to be produced. So here prototyping concept is not at all there, right? So client only get to see the software once it is developed. Although we have a proper plans, but the client gets the software or the view of the software after completion of the application only. Okay, then let's say if any changes happens midway once the coding is started, then changes are not that welcome. But apart from this several disadvantages, it has various advantages also. As I said, different companies, based on their priority, they use different software development models. Fine. Now here in this particular module, you see here different levels. So this is a unit testing level, this is integration testing level, this is system testing level, this is user acceptance testing level. These are different levels of testings. Generally, when you have been asked to tell the types of testings, okay, so people say there are different types of testing and they include these unit testing, integration testing, system testing inside the types of testing topic itself. You are partially correct. Of course, they are types of testings, but we have a proper categories of the testing. Okay, so I have classified the categories of the types of testing in this way. So levels of testing first. Levels of testing. Then we have techniques of testing. Then we have different types of testing. Okay, so in the level of testing, we have these levels: unit testing, then integration testing, then system testing, and user acceptance testing. Now in the technique of testing, we have two techniques: black box testing, white box testing. We are going to study this in detail, don't worry. So white box testing. And in the types of testing there are a lot of types. Okay, so I have already shared one document in this Telegram group. So if you have not joined this Telegram group, please do join. This is the link. This link is also provided in the description of this video. Okay, so this is our today's live session, and in the description you will see this link. You can just open this link, fill up a little bit details, and you will get uh, the Telegram group link file to join this um, group, Telegram group. Fine. So this was all about the V model. Fine. So friends, if you feel that this knowledge has helping you, or these sessions are helping you, so you can hit the like button of this video. You can also share this video with a lot of people, like your friends and colleagues, so that they can also get the benefit, because these are free classes. Anybody can attend this, anybody can attend live, or also even after completion of this live stream you can watch this session later on also, right? So yes, thank you very much for liking. Now next session is not over yet, right? So we are going to almost have almost 1 hour we are going to have this live session. And then next is the levels of testing. Okay, so as I said, levels of testing, they are unit testing, integration testing, system testing, and user acceptance testing. The techniques of testing and types of testing, if you want to see that in detail, so you can just go to the Telegram account, your Telegram account, wherein I have shared this already. Okay, just like this I shared the different PDFs, and after the first session I have shared this course content also. Okay, so you can just see. So these are the levels of testing. Okay, and then techniques of testing. Okay, black box testing, white box testing, and then we have different types of testing: functional testing, non-functional testing. Fine. So now let's continue with the next thing, that is levels of testing. As I said, there are different levels of testing. So levels of testings are be like unit testing, integration testing, system testing, user acceptance testing. Okay, so in unit testing, this unit testing is basically done by the developer. Whenever a small model is developed, the unit testing is been implemented, right? So this testing is used to validate individual unit or component of a product, whether it is working fine or not. This is basically done by a developer using some testing framework like JUnit or CPP unit, whatever it is. But a small piece of code is being tested, right? So whether the function, method, or loop, or certain statement in the program, whether it is working fine or not, so that is being tested by generally a developer. Okay, and this unit testing strategy, it utilizes white box testing method to check the correctness of individual programming unit, right? So you might have heard about this white box testing and black box testing, right? So we are going to study that in detail, but still I'll give you in brief. This black box testing is a kind of testing wherein you are least bothered about the coding that is being done by the developer. You just have the application, you test it. In white box testing, you actually go inside the code, you debug it, and you check it. So that is a white box testing. So here you go inside the code and check the code. So that is the white box testing. Fine. So this unit testing is a white box testing generally done by the developers. Fine. Then next level is integration testing. Now integration testing, in integration testing different modules are developed, and those modules may not be the whole system modules. Some of the modules which are interconnected are integrated together and they are tested. This is known as integration testing. So integration testing is a kind of a testing wherein we combine the part of an application to determine if they are function if they are functioning correctly or not when they are interconnected. Okay, so this integration testing is purely done by a software tester or a special integration tester. In integration tester focuses mainly on the interface and flow of data or information, means transfer of data in between one model to another model. Now this integration testing, it has three approaches. One is top-down approach, another is bottom-up approach, third one is sandwich approach. So let's see what this top-down approach is. So this top-down approach, it has this kind of hierarchy wherein the higher level models are ready and lower level models are not ready. In that case, what do? Is we actually put a dummy model over here. So let's suppose this A, B, C, D, these are the models, and this model at this particular level, it is not been prepared. So we put a stub for it, means we put a dummy model for it and we call it as a stub. So look at this. So suppose this is a banking application wherein we have a higher level model like or the top level model check balance and transfer fund. First you do the check balance and then you do the transfer fund. Fine. So here let's suppose this transfer fund, this model is not ready. So what do? Is we create a stub for it. Now this stub is not a dummy model, because if I have a time to create a dummy model, then I could have created the same model itself, right? So here it replicates certain functionality that might be used in the transfer fund. Fine. So for example, in transfer fund, you have to check that user has the minimum balance or not. Okay, then only you can transfer the fund. You can also check whether the account number is correct or not. Okay, so this you can check, and these checks are being called as stub. Okay, so when higher level models are ready and lower level models are not ready, we use top down approach, and in top down approach we use the stub. Similarly, we have a bottom up approach as well. So here your bottom models are ready but top level models are not ready. So in that case, we assume that there are certain functionality, even let's say the real module is not there, but some data transfer we can check in between. Fine. So this is known as bottom up approach, and we use driver for this. Okay, and then we have integration testing, another integration testing approach, that is the sandwich approach. So it is the combination of the top down and bottom up. Let's say at some places you will have higher level model ready and lower level model may not be ready. At some places you will have lower level model ready and higher level models are not ready. So combination of them, like here you understand, when you do integration testing, you purely test the data, means data from one model is transferring to the another model or not, right? So one of the practical example I can give you. So suppose this is one of the web page. Okay, so here we have two models. Let's say add a customer. Okay, this is one of the model. So when we add the customer, then we have another module, let's say view customer. So when you add the customer, your data must be replicated here. Okay, so view customer is a lower model, low level model. Let's suppose this is there, but this add customer module is not there. Then you can still check the data here, whether this data is correct or not, and you can, still have some, let's say this model is not properly prepared, or let's say the backend functionality is not correctly created. So what you can do is you can at least check the validations of it, right? So whether without entering name, if I click on add button, then am I getting the error message or not? If I am entering the incorrect contact numbers, then am I getting incorrect correct valid messages or not? Okay, so validation messages or not. So these kinds of checks I can do even though this add customer is not completed. So this will be my bottom up approach. Fine. So top down and bottom up approach, when we mix them together, so it will be the sandwich approach. Fine. Then system testing. So system testing can be implemented when your system is completely ready, right? So in integration testing, it is okay that some of the modules are not prepared, but in system testing, when the whole things of your software is completely prepared, then you do system testing. For example, let's say we have a pen. Okay, so let's say the pen components. So I can just show you some pen components here. I guess this is the best diagram we have, or you can pick up any other diagram. So this is a pen. Okay, so this pen has different components. Okay, so you have a tip of the body, lower body, upper body, cap, then lower cells, or different things are there. So let's say each and every part is being prepared by a different manufacturer. Okay, and when you integrate all these components, this pen is been created. Okay, now you get this pen and you test it whether it is working fine or not. So this is the whole system test. Another example, let's say this is an application and there are different modules like sales, customer, purchase, supplier, right? So in integration testing, we just check the sales and the customer, or let's say sales, customer and purchase. Let's say even if these modules are not ready, we do the integration testing. But in system testing, I want the whole system ready, right? So in this application, all the modules are ready and we are checking this system as a whole, so that we can check whether when we integrate everything, all of the modules, then do we get any issues there. So this will be the system testing. Lastly, user acceptance testing. Fine. So acceptance testing means when your application is completed, right, and it has been delivered to the client. So this is a software application and it has been we are about to give it to the client, but before we give it to the client, we test it thoroughly as if we are the end users. Okay, and again it has two types, alpha testing and beta testing. So alpha testing means this is basically done by the company campus, right? In the internal organization, the one who prepare or build your software. So the developers or the testers within the organization, they observe the behavior before this application goes live or given into the customer's hand. Another thing is that beta testing. Okay, so before I talk about this, you might have heard this beta version. Okay, let's say beta version. Okay, Windows, sometimes it comes in the beta version, right? Or some software you see in the beta version, right? So this beta version is what? So these softwares are actually released in the public, and public, they starts using it. Many times you might have used some beta versions of the Windows for free. Now the purpose of it, when real customer they use, they face different levels of problems they can face, right? Let's say this software is being developed by your team only, your developers, your tester, they know everything and they know how to work on it. But the end user customer is not fully during the process of the preparation of this software. So the end users, they will be given a training to use this particular software, and based on their training they will use it, right? And while use, they might do certain mistakes, or while doing this job, because let's say they are moving from one process to another process, prior to this software also they would be doing their job in some other way, so they will apply that knowledge here and will try to implement or try to evaluate this software in that way, right? For example, this is a software which actually handles the sales. It maintains the customer data, purchase data. Might be before prior to this software, the client might be using everything in paper format. Like they might be creating the bills, they might be writing their customer's name in the notebook or notepad, and supplier names and number they might be maintaining it in diary. But now everything has come here, right? So here they have customer information, they have their suppliers information, then they can do the sales operation from here, right? So things are quite different for them, and you know, the concepts are still same for them, although the process is different, but the concepts of maintaining the customer, maintaining the suppliers, doing the uh, purchase operation or the sales operation, those concepts are same for them. Those, that business logic is same for them, right? So they know better way how to use it, in the sense with their regular work, right? With respect to their regular work, they know better their business logic. But when they will actually start using it with their own perspective, they are bound to face certain issue. Okay, and in case if you have not handled that, then the software will break, there will be bugs in the software, and you have to handle it. So two phases of user acceptance testing is there. One is alpha testing. Then alpha testing is carried out in your own organization, or the one who developed the software, the one who test. So in their environment itself it is been tested, and the beta testing is being done by the actual or the real users. Fine. So this is user acceptance testing. Okay. So here we have done these levels of testings, different levels of testings. Here we are. What are the different levels of testings? Unit testing, integration testing, system testing, acceptance testings. Fine. Great. Now we are going to study the testing life cycle. Okay. So next one is testing life cycle, software testing life cycle. Just like we had the software development life cycle, we have software testing life cycle. So we will quickly revise what is the software development life cycle. So in software development life cycle, we have certain phases like requirement analysis, then design, then coding, deployment, and maintenance. We have already seen this. So certain steps are there, certain steps which are fixed, right? So in order to implement the software in a better way, these steps are there, and one can implement or one can, develop the software proper way. So if this is a software development life cycle, then there is software testing life cycle also. Okay. So why this life cycle is, in order to carry out the process properly. So we have software testing life cycle as well. Okay. Software testing testing life cycle. So here, understand one thing. This software testing life cycle, it will differ from company to company. Means today I am showing you one diagram, so every company may not follow the same. But I have just prepared one particular diagram which can be more or less common in almost all of the industries. More or less they will add certain things into it, but few things which will remain common, and it will be quite like this. So this is STLC, that is software testing life cycle. So look at this. So here also I can see certain levels. I'll just read it out. So requirement analysis, test planning, test designing, test environment setup, test execution, bug reporting. Fine. So these are different levels here. Let's understand each level, what happens at each particular level. So in the requirement analysis phase, the requirement is gathered for testing. Okay. So in the SDLC, that is the development life cycle, we gather the requirement for developing the software. Here we are gathering the requirement for testing. So what kind of requirement, what kind of testing has to be implemented, whether it will be manual testing or automation testing, right? So what will be the different modules wherein we are going to test? This analysis will be done. Then in test planning, the actual plan happens, right? So who will be the team members there, features to be tested, features not to be tested, what will be your test exit criteria, when to stop testing. So everything will be planned here. Risk analysis also been done here. So everything plan will be completed. This plan will be completed in test plan phase. Okay, so you will have a proper test plan document, and planning will happen there. After that, test design will start. Here we will write actual test cases. We will have a test plan, and within that particular time, or within that particular time frame, and with that particular number of people or in the team, they will start designing the test. They will write the test cases. Okay, and those test cases will be reviewed and then saved or stored in the test case repository. Next phase would be test environment setup. Okay, so in order to make the software application live, you must have certain environment. Okay, for example, I have some projects on my local machine. So I have installed it with the help of XAMPP. Okay, so XAMPP is one of the web server which looks quite like this. Okay, so this is a part of my environment. When I start this, then my server is started, and I have maintained the project here in the XAMPP folder, htdocs here. So this is actually my environment is there. So this environment is set up at the tester side. Okay, maybe at one server this whole installation will be done, and each tester will get certain URL. But prior to testing, this proper environment setup is necessary. Now, not necessarily your application will be hosted on the local machine. It can be hosted on some online platform also, right? So irrespective of the local area network, everybody with the help of internet also can access the application, provided that your application is web based. It can be a desktop application as well. So in case if it is a desktop application, then you will have to install that software on your machine. Okay, and then the tester can start doing the test. Fine. So once the environment is set up, you are ready to access the software application, and then the test execution starts. Okay, so here the test cases are prioritized and executed, and we will also compare the actual result with the expected result. If the actual result matches with the actual and expected result, if they matches, then your tests are passed. If they are not matched, then your tests are failed. And failed test cases are the bugs. So the bugs are reported here using different tools, right? Maybe you can report the bugs with Excel sheet, or certain tools are there like Jira is there, Mantis is there, Bugzilla is there. Based on whatever your industry or whatever your company is comfortable with, you are going to maintain the bugs. Okay, so this is all about the software testing lifecycle. As I said, this can be different in different organization, but overall these would be the steps to implement the testing phases, different testing phases. This is software testing lifecycle. Fine. Now, one more topic we are going to study, and that is different CMMI level. Okay, so CMMI model. Okay, so this is not actually a software development model. This is actually a standard given to the different organization. Okay, so different levels are there. So those levels are be like this. Okay, so the full form of CMMI is Capability Maturity Model Integration. So here there are different levels, and I'm going to explain you each and every level. But let's say if you want to remember these levels, so it is initial, repeatable, defined, managing, and optimizing. So when I used to learn this software testing, then let's say it was difficult for me to remember these different levels. So what I've done is I have just developed one sentence. Just remember that, and you'll be able to remember these different levels here, right? So if you just remember this initial letters also, then also you will be able to remember this. So initial, repeatable, defined, managed, and optimizing. So the first letters are like this. Okay, so you can remember in this way. In railway, do money order. Okay, in the railway, do money order. Just remember in this way. So initial, repeatable, defined, managed, optimized, right? So in this way you can remember this different levels. Fine. So let's learn the first level, that is the initial level. Okay, so in initial level, that is the level 1. Here this is actually a standard given to a company. So CMI level 1 company, in this company the processes are very ad hoc and chaotic. Means actually what happens is that whenever somebody who is less experienced, who starts the organization with full of passion, of course, so the person might not know the different standard processes, and but they still can produce the result, and their success of the organization, it depends upon the intelligent people they do have. Most probably in this kind of organizations, the over promise is done to the client or customer, and delivery is not given on time, but still they manage somehow to do the business. Processes are chaotic, people are less experienced, but due to some intelligent people in the organization, the success of their project or product, it is defined. So this is level 1 company. Then repeatable, CMMI level 2 company, it is repeatable. So in this company, so it is actually quite, better than initial uh, level or initial level company. So maybe the initial level company or organization, with their experience, by gathering their experience, of their successful products or successful delivery of a project, they attempt to repeat the same steps and can achieve the success in delivering of the project. So these kinds of organizations are repeatable level. They have repeatable level, that is level 2, CMMI level 2, and they repeat their success in the next project. Fine. Third organization, let's say the same organization, they improve themselves and they understand that these are the processes with the help of which when we carried out the same way, we could repeat the steps or repeat the progress or repeat the success, previously implemented success. Then what they do is they define certain things. They define and document certain steps which has to be implemented whenever a new project it comes, right? So for example, in level 1, whenever the requirement is there, requirement is received, nobody maintains any documents, nothing. They just keep their contact on phone. The customer, they just give the instructions on phone and they start working on it, right? So in defined stage, say they first understand the requirement, they at least write down some points and then they implement it. Now in this third level, they not only document the requirements, they also document the processes. So what process to follow, how to divide the models, who is going to take what responsibility, in case of any particular risk, what steps has to be done. So that will be defined here. Now in the next level, let's say the same company, they have defined everything properly, but their implementation becomes a challenge if you don't manage the things properly. You have everything documented, you have everything defined, but if you have poor implementation of the defined things, then things will fail, things will tend to fail. So at level 4 company or the managed level, these organizations, they not only document the things, they also manage the things very properly. They manage their manpower, they manage their processes, everything, right? So this will be the level 4, and the last level is the optimizing level. So these kinds of company, they continuously reviews their processes, means they define their processes, they manage it very well, and they also keep on taking reviews after equal interval of time. They continuously keep on evolving them. They take care of their employees, they take care of their assets and keep on continuously evolving. So some of the CMMI level companies are Infosys, IBM, Amdocs or TCS. Like you can search on Google. So CMMI level 5 companies. So let's say I'll say CMMI level 5 companies in Pune. Okay, updated list of CMMI level 5 companies. So you can get it on Google. So this is one of the article. Okay, so this is the company name. So this is the list of different companies. So Cognizant is quite well known. HCL, you can see Hexaware, Honeywell, IBM, right? So this is the list of CMMI level 5 companies. I'll just put this link also in the notes. Fine. So yes, are you enjoying the sessions or not? Right? So if you are feeling that these sessions are helping you, don't keep it to yourself. Share this session on WhatsApp to different friends, to different people in your organization, right? So do share this with your friends and colleagues, and if you feel that this session is helpful, also hit the like button. If you have still not subscribed to my channel, please do subscribe to this channel and This is the Telegram group link in case if you want to get these notes and the PPTs that I have shared with you. So you can just get my this PPT and get this PPT also, PPT and this notes here. Okay, so thank you very much. Thank you for joining me live, and we will meet next week Saturday at 10 a.m. Fine. So thank you very much and have a nice weekend ahead.